Massive moves are coming for the New York Rangers as multiple insiders and reports have stated that Kaapo Kakko could be on his way out of New York and the return may shock Rangers fans. Stay tuned for that and how this may affect the lineup heading into next season. We're going to break all of that down, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you now watching our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. I'm going to cover everything that has to do with the team all summer long heading into next year and hopefully a Stanley Cup run for the New York Rangers. But let's waste no time. Today's video, of course, about Kaapo Kakko. We have some news that has dropped with a couple insiders and a couple reports coming out, a couple articles about where he may end up, and it's looking more likely than not that he may not be a New York Ranger next season. It sounds like Chris Drury is about to start cooking. So let's get right into it. This is from Remy, of course, and this was just a couple days ago. I noticed it, but there was no validity to it. Really, it was just a good idea. But over the last couple days, there have been some more reports and some good ideas in terms of return, and we'll get to that later in the video. So the Flames linked to Kaapo Kakko in a potential trade. If the Rangers are to trade Kaapo Kakko, the Flames are reportedly a team that may have interest in his services. Now, there are multiple teams that are interested in Kaapo Kakko, and we'll get to that in just a second. But according to Julian MacKenzie of The Athletic and the SDP, the Flames are a team to watch on the trade market in pursuit of young talent, and obviously Kaapo Kakko fits right into that category, right? If the Flames found a consistent line with suitable players for Kakko and he stays healthy, there's a reward to be found. With most free agents already signed, it's unclear if the Rangers will trade Kakko before the start of the season. Now, I think it's more likely than not at this point because I think that the Rangers can get a pretty good return for Kaapo Kakko at this point, right? He's still a very good young player, I think, who has a lot of potential. And I think the Rangers still think there's a lot of potential there. But with the, with the Rangers acquiring Riley Smith in that trade just a couple days ago around free agency, I'm not sure Kaapo Kakko has a spot on this Rangers team anymore. If he's going to play on the third line, I think that's a waste of talent, and we're just going to keep repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. So furthermore, into Julian's report, I'm pretty sure they're dangling Kaapo Kakko and will pursue deals to possibly move him this summer. This is, of course, from Vince, and we've heard a lot from Vince over the last couple of days. I think they're not thrilled with the offers that they've gotten so far, which is why he's still on the roster. Now, there is an offer or an idea that I'm going to get into in just a few minutes that I think would be worthwhile, but I wonder if the Flames even consider it. Anyway, the 2019 second overall pick could use a fresh start despite not actively seeking a new beginning somewhere else. And while that is true, I think it could be good for Kaapo Kakko for, a change of scenery for his career, and obviously for the Rangers, they can fill a spot elsewhere because, like I said, with Riley Smith coming into the top six, because I'm assuming that's where he's going to play. He could play in the, the bottom six as well, but I think he's a middle six forward for sure, and he's probably going to play top 6 minutes, and hopefully they find some chemistry in the first two lines. But pretty interesting stuff for Kaapo Kakko. Could be a Calgary Flame. Now, this is from Snark Messier, who's fantastic as well. As per Jacob Trouba of Sports Illustrated, the Flames, Sharks, and Penguins are interested in trading for Kaapo Kakko. Now, that's interesting because the Penguins are in need of some youth as well, some young talent in Kaapo Kakko, like we've talked about. I mean, we can get into his stats for a second. This guy is still very young, right? He's only going to be 24 this season. And he, his season wasn't great last year. He missed some time. There was an injury too. So that's something to keep in mind too. Maybe, when he has a healthier season, he could produce more, but, kind of fluctuated between lines there. Didn't really find any, too much chemistry, with, any one line, and obviously was in and out of the lineup in the playoffs as well. And, only 19 points in 61 games. But again, I still think there's something to this player, especially if he were to go to a different team. And I still think there's something with this player on the Rangers, but I don't know if he's going to get the opportunity on the team anymore. And that is the bigger issue, I think. So the Sharks is interesting as well, but I think the Flames is the most interesting one of all of them. So you have to ask the question, is Chris Drury doing some cooking behind the scenes? All of a sudden, I've seen several different rumors pop up on my timeline today. Buffalo is interested in Trouba, which I think is huge, and we're going to get into that in a separate video because that may play into who the Rangers might get in return in this video. The Sharks, Flames, and Penguins, as I just alluded to, and the New York Rangers are interested in MacKenzie Weegar. Now, this is the wild card. This is a player I wonder if you get back in a Kaapo Kakko trade. Would you be interested in seeing the Rangers acquire a two-way defenseman in MacKenzie Weegar? Obviously, sounds like the Flames may be looking to move off of this player. The Flames are shedding a lot, right? And when you look at a potential Kaapo Kakko for MacKenzie Weegar trade, I think that's very interesting, right? Because the Flames could use younger talent for sure up front. They're kind of rebuilding or retooling, whatever they want to call it. And then when you think of the Rangers adding on the defensive side of the puck, if you are going to move off Jacob Trouba, bringing in MacKenzie Weegar, and obviously Schneider may take a step. I'm not saying he's going to be Jacob Trouba, but he's going to take steps. He's a young player. Maybe you bring in Weegar, you got another right shot defenseman. That would be chef's kiss to retool on the fly. And I think Weegar is another guy that you can win with, right? I think he's a hard-nosed player. And I just think he's a guy that you could probably win with the Rangers. I think he would fit in pretty well. Really good two-way defenseman. So that's very interesting as well. And a hypothetical move that could be made is for the Rangers to acquire an elite two-way defenseman from Calgary, MacKenzie Weegar. Weegar had another stellar campaign with the Flames, and we'll get into his stats now as well. MacKenzie Weegar, of course, he played all 82 games, right? Stayed healthy. He's only 30 years old, right? So he's going to be 31, so he's getting up there. But, for the window that the Rangers are in, this is great. He plays in a lot of situations, plays a lot of, eats a lot of ice time. So there's that, kind of Jacob Trouba replacement per se. I'm not saying he's absolutely going to replace him, but anyway, 52 points in 82 games, not bad at all, right? About half a point a game player, a little bit more. So really good from the back end there. And this is on a bad Calgary Flames team. So I kind of like this pickup. I think this could be interesting, especially for Kaapo Kakko. I don't mind Kakko going out the door if it's for something like this. I just don't want to, trade Kaapo Kakko for nothing for the sake of trading him. But if you were to get something like this, and then maybe you move off Jacob Trouba, now we're cooking. Now we're talking. We're retooling on the fly. I like that from Chris Drury, right? So acquiring Weegar would certainly not be a low-cost move for starters. It would have to be Kaapo Kakko, maybe a few other pieces, right? So again, I think that's very interesting. I'm okay with the move. You may also get a prospect out of Calgary, maybe a few prospects going each way, right? Maybe a draft pick or something like that. But I think there is a deal to be had here between the two players. And we'll get into MacKenzie Weegar's stats again. I mean, relatively young, like I said, like he's only going to be 31, still playing, some of his best hockey on a bad Calgary Flames team, logs a lot of ice time, half a point a game player. This is a really good player. And if Jacob Trouba is coming out and going the other way, I don't hate this move. I think it could be very interesting for the New York Rangers. So let me know what you think in the comments. Would you be okay with trading Kaapo Kakko, first of all? Because a lot of people, I think, are, depending on the return. Like, I don't think you should trade him just for the sake of trading him. But a lot of people are okay with trading him. If you're trading him for MacKenzie Weegar, I think that's a great return, right? I think there's more to that trade, of course, but I think that's a great return for starters. And if you're bringing in MacKenzie Weegar as a right shot defenseman, two-way defenseman who's relatively young still, to replace Jacob Trouba, I think that's okay. That's not bad at all. And they might have to make the salary cap work, right? Because MacKenzie Weegar, the 30-year-old, has 6 years left at $6.25 million. But of course, you can trade that contract. It does have a no trade clause, but you can figure that out down the road, of course. And that is a little bit of a hefty, AAV, but it's not that bad with the salary cap, coming up. And obviously you're saving $2 million if you move off of Jacob Trouba. And on top of it, the Rangers have salary cap space. They do, right? You have to be a little bit careful of what you do heading into next season, of course, because there are contracts that are coming up. Lafreniere, you got to worry about Shesterkin, stuff like that, but they do have salary cap space, and if you were to move off Trouba, you're saving a little bit of money in that way. So very, very interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think of that trade proposal, how the money works. Obviously, cap friendly is gone now, so it's not as easy to see how things would work out with mock trades and all of that, but let me know what you think in the comments. I kind of like the trade, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.